Hello, hi. Welcome to Dnyanbodh Science Center, where we learn, unlearn and relearn. So today we are going to talk about very important topic. So let's get started. Hello, welcome again. In previous video we have seen different types of reactions, combination reaction and decomposition reaction. Now in this video we are going to talk about another two types of reactions, that is displacement reaction and double displacement reaction. So to understand this displacement reaction, first of all you have to do one experiment, or you have to study one experiment. Okay, there are different salts of metals and some salts can dissolve in water. Now metals can form salts by combining with non-metals. Some examples are like sodium chloride, copper sulfate, ferrous sulfate, iron chloride, etc. So to understand the reactivity of metal, there is a reactivity series, and depending on that reactivity series or depending on the reactivity of metal, the reactivity series is explained. So you will study reactivity series in proper manner, in detailed manner in chapter metals and non-metals. So to understand displacement reaction, we need to understand reactivity series of metals. Okay, so here you can see that what is displacement reaction actually. So displacement reaction can be defined as when highly reactive element displaces less reactive element from its salt solution. Okay, the aqueous solution of salt is needed here. So when highly reactive element displaces less reactive element from its salt solution, then that particular reaction is called as displacement reaction. So during experiment you will observe that copper sulfate solution, which is blue in color, is kept in test tube and iron nail is dipped in that. Okay, so you will find after some time the iron nail turned reddish in color and the blue color of copper sulfate solution vanishes and it becomes green. Now why these changes are observed here? So there is color change, and you can see that the solution is completely different. A new compound or new substance we found there after completion of reaction. Now what happens actually in the reaction? So see, we can see here the reaction. Copper sulfate in its aqueous solution, which is blue in color, okay, very bright blue color we can observe of copper sulfate. When iron nail or iron wire is dipped in copper sulfate solution, what happens? Iron, being more reactive than copper, displaces copper from its salt solution. Now as you know that when ionic compound dissolve in water, that dissociates into its constituents like Cu plus SO4 minus. Okay, Cu plus SO4 minus, and in that ionic state iron displaces copper from its salt solution to form another ionic compound like FeSO4. Other ionic compound like FeSO4. Okay, now FeSO4, that is iron sulfate, will be aqueous in nature and it will give green color to the water, and that's why the copper sulfate changes to green color, as there you can see formation of iron sulfate. And what's that reddish color on iron nail? So that reddish color will be residual form, or that reddish color will be of copper, as copper is displaced from its salt solution. Now iron is taking place of copper from copper sulfate and copper is removed from the salt, and that's why we can see copper deposits on iron nail. So this is best example of displacement reaction when copper sulfate reacts with iron, or when iron nail is dipped in copper sulfate solution, it changes to green color due to production of iron sulfate. and copper will be displaced or copper will be deposited on iron nail. And why this happens? Because iron is more reactive than copper. Why that is green color? Because iron sulfate is green color. So now that solution is of iron sulfate aqueous solution, and therefore that particular solution gets green color. I hope you have understood. Let's take a next example, okay, that is of copper sulfate when reacts with zinc. Okay, copper sulfate when reacts with zinc. Now again, zinc is more reactive than copper, as you can observe in reactivity series. Zinc is more reactive than copper, and therefore zinc displaces copper from its salt solution to form zinc sulfate, which is again aqueous in nature, and copper deposits you can find in the test tube. Okay, let's take another example here. Lead when reacts with copper chloride. Now this is copper chloride. Lead reacts with copper chloride to form lead chloride. Okay, lead chloride, and copper again is displaced because again Pb, that is lead, is more reactive than copper. Now as per the definition, you can understand that more reactive element, that is iron, Zn and Pb, more reactive than copper. Okay, so iron, Zn, Pb being more reactive than copper can displace copper from its salt solution. So here the salt solution was copper sulfate and here it is copper chloride. Okay, so you can understand now the definition that more reactive element displaces less reactive element from its salt solution, and therefore this reaction is called as displacement reaction. Now the another situation we will identify. Again here there will be one example. Again here one will be experiment. So now what will happen if two salt solutions are reacting with each other? Now let's take that example. Here you can see sodium sulfate when reacts with barium chloride. Now both are colorless solutions. Okay, will look like water. Okay, will look like water. When sodium sulfate reacts with barium chloride, now both are colorless. What we find here after the reaction? There will be barium sulfate. Okay, there will be barium sulfate. As soon as you mix two test tubes or two conical flasks, the solutions of the conical flasks in each other, you will find there is formation of white substance in the beaker or in the conical flask or in test tube. So that white substance is of barium sulfate and sodium chloride will be in aqueous form. Now what you call to this white substance? Barium sulfate. Now previously if you observe the conical flask, it is colorless. It will look like water because both can dissolve in water. As soon as you add this solution to each other, you will find the white substance which is being settled at the bottom. Okay, now this white substance, not always white, if there is a solid formation, if there is formation of solid substance after the reaction, when two reactants reacting with each other forms solid substance in the solution, okay, then that particular reaction and that solid substance is settling at the bottom, or it settled down at the bottom, and that particular formation of insoluble solid substance, the substance is called as precipitate. Okay, substance is called as precipitate. Okay, in short form it is written as PPT. Now what is this precipitate? Now why precipitate is formed? Yes, barium sulfate is insoluble in water, and that's why this precipitate is formed. And this particular reaction where there is formation of precipitate, okay, in the reaction, if precipitate is forming, or the reaction where precipitate is formed after the reaction, that particular reaction is called as precipitation reaction. precipitation reaction. Now you can observe here that there are two salt solution reacting with each other. Okay, and again we are getting two new salts here. Okay, two salt solution are giving two salt. Now what actually is happening here? Now here in aqueous solution, sodium will be in Na plus and SO4 minus minus. This will dissociate in this form. Here again Na plus plus SO4, and we are getting here Ba plus 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 Cl2 minus. Okay, here we are getting in this way. Salts will get dissociate as they are ionic compounds. Salts will get dissociate into its constituents, ionic form. Okay. Now what happens here? Here you can see sodium being positively charged will get attracted to chlorine. Okay. Will get attracted to chlorine and will form NaCl, and this SO4 minus minus SO4 will react with this barium to form BaSO4, that is barium sulfate. Okay. Now here you can see what actually is happening. Here elements are reacting in their ionic forms, and therefore here you can see that ions are exchanged. Ions are exchanged, and therefore here you can explain the reaction in this way. The reaction in which there is an exchange of ions. So here they are reacting in ionic form. So here you can see that exchange of ion is occurring, and therefore this particular reaction is called as double displacement, because two displacements are happening. Ba is displacing sodium and sodium is displacing Ba from its salt solution. That is, barium is displacing sodium and sodium is displacing barium. So in this reaction you can see that there is ion exchange, and therefore this particular reaction is called as double displacement reaction. So this double displacement reaction is totally different from this. Metal displaces another metal from its salt solution, where here two salt solutions are reacting with each other. Okay, again the same question will be asked. You will be given some example of reaction, and then you have to identify the chemical reaction, whether it is displacement or double displacement. Balancing the chemical equation, that also can be the question. Explain double displacement reaction with an example, that can be the question. Explain displacement reaction with example, that can be the question. Again a diagram will be given, and on that diagram the question will be asked. So many type of questions will be asked in this particular topic. I hope you have understood the reaction here, and then whatever questions are there, please do comment in the comment box. Please do subscribe to the channel so that you will get more interesting videos and more knowledge with me. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.